Hello, welcome to Pivotal Story Studio. Today I have for you 3 tips for telling great results-driven stories that will help you to build your leadership, build your business. And the first of those tips is to begin at the end, which is a kind of backwards way of doing things, but nevertheless there's 2 reasons for that. The first one is that it's terribly important to know what you want to happen at the end of the story, at the end of the presentation. You need to know whether you are getting leads, whether you're selling something, a service or a product, whether you want people to buy, whether you are wanting your team to be more productive, or perhaps it's a story you're telling yourself about your productivity, your resilience, your ability to be agile, innovative. You need to start with the end in mind. Begin at the end. Don't forget the goals, because they will determine so much about which story you choose and how you tell it. The other aspect of looking at storytelling and starting the story from the end is that in some way you need to let your audience know that they are going to have something of value from this story, from what you're giving them, from this presentation. So there needs to be an introduction of some sort to the story that intimates that at the end there's going to be something of huge value, because that's what storytelling's about. It's what we're wired for. The lesson at the end of the story, the learning, the epiphany. So whether you announce at the beginning that at the end of this story we're going to learn something, make it as unsubtle as that, or tease the value, but start your story from the end. The second point, which is again all to do with about your audience, keeping their attention, keeping their engagement, making your empathy for them very, very obvious. And storytelling on its own is just such a wonderful tool for doing that, a wonderful way of looking at empathy and persuading, impacting, influencing your audience. But it's worthwhile keeping in mind that that's what you're doing. Even though story works incredibly well, you need to set it up with your audience in mind, and you need to apply that to the lesson that you choose, the words that you use, the story itself and its structure, all of those things. Keep in mind your audience's own story and how they're going to react to what you have to say. Because once they're in that story with you, if you set it up well and if you tell it according to the best story structure, they will lose their doubt. They will trust you. They will be in there with you, feeling what you're feeling, what you set up for them to feel and to believe with you. So keep that audience in mind all the way through your preparation and delivery of your story. The final tip that I have for you is the elements of story themselves, and there are many that I teach in all of my courses and coaching and mentoring. But the 2 that I think are most important about storytelling are challenges and achievements. Sometimes story strategists will talk about conflict, and that's certainly there, but I think I'd like us to avoid using story to create conflict or to aggrandize conflict. We all have challenges, and that's what story's about: overcoming a challenge, overcoming and achieving. So your story needs to have challenges. It also needs to have achievements, because it's the learning, the epiphany that you gained in creating that achievement, overcoming that challenge, that is the lesson that you need to pass on. It may in fact be the teaching, the service, the product that you provide, was what helped you overcome that challenge. And that is the essence of business storytelling, of leadership storytelling. So start at the end so that your audience knows to look for a lesson, that it's coming. Think about that audience so that you do lead them through your story to the ending that you want for them. And don't forget the challenges and achievements. Visit me at bronwynritchie.com, where your story matters, and Pivotal Story Studio will teach you how to use story to be a success in business and leadership.